guys, Michelle and Jeremy here from Couples Flipping Houses. We are here today in our house to talk to you. We have special guests, that's why. We're here to talk with our Rockstar acquisition specialists out in Western New York, Emma and Dylan. So we want to introduce them to you and ask them some questions today, right?
We do. Hey, Emma. Hey, Dylan.
Hello.
Emma and Dylan have been with us for a few months now, and they are absolutely crushing it.
Killing it.
They are showing Western New York what it's like to be a wholesaler, and this area has never seen anything like them before. They are a young married couple with a young child, and they are just embracing this new world of wholesaling and real estate investing, and they are absolutely crushing it. And the best thing about it, honey, is they are changing a lot of lives in the area and adding a lot of value to the community. The stuff that these two have done that we know about that many people don't is pretty tremendous.
It is. It's fantastic. It's just right along the lines of like Eddie here in New Hampshire.
Yes.
Now we have Emma and Dylan in New York, and
Which
I just
we
feel
love.
so lucky.
Now, we are Couples Flipping Houses, but for today, we're couples wholesaling houses,
Right.
because a married couple talking to another married couple about what it's like to work in this business. And with you guys now experience, how many properties have you guys successfully got under contract and assigned since you guys have started? I want to say in July.
Yeah, we're calling in August.
They started calling in August. I think we're between like 15 and 18 right now.
Wow, 15 to 18
How
in the
crazy
second
is that?
half
Like
of the
in
year.
the very beginning, you're already losing track of wait, how many?
Yeah.
Because there's so many. That's incredible.
They basically get a deal a week. So that's how we figure out the math at this
That's
point.
what we'll call it.
Well, awesome. So obviously you guys have a lot of experience. So we want to get your input because there's a lot of people who watch us on Couples Flipping Houses. You know, they see the stuff that we're doing. They think we're this big successful couple that has all the experience, which we're still relatively newbies ourselves, but you guys are real newbies where you really just started a few months ago, and really you guys had no wholesaling experience at all. All you guys did was flip a house and turn it into a rental, right? Is that the only thing you guys have? Wow. So basically everything you've learned is basically from our training and our coaching, but other than that, you have no experience.
100%, yeah.
So great. So we want to get your perspective. So we're going to ask you three things. Okay. We want three things that you guys can tell us of what, some value you could bring about being new to wholesaling for other new wholesalers out there. And then at the end, I want to ask you two other things of advice, but we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So three things. What can you guys bring for three things new to wholesaling that you would recommend or can give us some advice of people new in wholesaling?
First thing we would recommend is always be learning, and that could go a couple different directions. One direction it could go is
always listening to modules, training, reading books. You guys have introduced us to so many amazing books that we've started to read that, keep our minds going. We're always listening to podcasts of the best wholesalers, around.
Yeah.
But even more importantly, do you want to say?
Yeah. Go on appointments, talk to sellers, and always be learning from those experiences, because
you learn the most from those.
Yeah, you can read all the books in the world, but if you don't go on appointments, you're never going to learn what it truly is like to be a wholesaler and be in those awkward situations.
Yeah, working with sellers, learning how to work with them.
Asking the hard questions and trying to problem solve for these sellers who are in a distressed situation.
Yeah.
I love it.
So number one is always be learning, and find a coach or a mentor or anybody that knows what they're doing and emulate them.
That's great advice.
Just learn all the time.
No reason to reinvent.
Number two.
Yes, number two.
No, not at all.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dylan always talks about this one. He always says, fail forward.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm always afraid of failing. I'm always afraid of making mistakes. I always, overthinking everything. I'm scared I'm going to do something wrong. And Dylan's like, fail forward. And it goes with number one, too. That's where you learn when you fail. If you put a house under contract and you assign it and everything, fine, great, you learn. But I feel like you learn more when you go to an appointment and you don't get the contract.
Yeah.
And then we go in the car and we're like, what did we do wrong? And we just talk about it the whole way home. And I feel like we grow more from those situations than when we get the contract successfully.
Yeah, we sit in the car after an appointment. We're like, what did we do wrong? What could we do better?
And our drive home is like an hour from Buffalo. So
We got a lot of time to talk
Plenty of
about
processing time.
What?
I said you guys have plenty of time to process it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The whole time we talk.
Yeah.
the whole time. No Christmas music in the car on the way home from an
No.
appointment.
I love that so much because when we first started, I was the same way. I'm like an overthinker and an analysis paralysis type of person. And obviously, he's the opposite of that. Fail forward is like what he always used to say. And it absolutely is what got us started in all of this. And every time we learned anything was failing forward. So I love that you guys said that.
Absolutely, some gold nuggets. So you have a third one for us?
Yeah, I mean, Michelle just kind of touched on it. Don't overanalyze. Don't get into analysis paralysis. Yeah.
You said it.
Yep.
When you start to think numbers too much rather than what I could do to help this person out of their situation, you're never truly going to help that person. You're never going to lock up that
Yeah,
contract.
you're too focused on.
And you also have to have an abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. Yeah, there's
100%.
17 other wholesalers in Buffalo. Just a random number I pulled out of my head. But there's always going to be a conveyor belt of distressed properties, distressed sellers.
Yep.
Always.
Love that analogy. There is
If
always
you
a
do
conveyor
what you
belt.
know how to do and do it right,
Always.
if you do what you do and do it right, you're going to get houses, you're going to get contracts, and don't be afraid.
Wow. Yeah.
Love it.
And people are going to be afraid. And you guys, thank you for sharing that. Those are three good things. There is always going to be a conveyor belt of properties, right? And a lot of people are always looking for the perfect deal. And that's where analysis paralysis comes in. They're so afraid to fail. But there's no unicorn out there. There's
no perfect deal.
No.
Just have to go make things happen. And you fail. Well, you know what? There's no successful person in real estate or anything in life who hasn't failed numerous times to get there. You could talk to people as like Michael Jordan, how many shots he failed to make before he made all the ones that counted. And there's so many other examples, but you have to fail. And people are afraid to make mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes. You just don't want them to be costly financial mistakes to put you out of business. But, taking action, failing forward, great advice, adding value. That's where it comes into play more than anything, not over analyzing the numbers. As wholesaling, everybody's taught, you got to be 70% ARV minus a rehab and then minus this. We can't be experts at that. We'll figure that stuff out later. Just go get the deal. Your buyers will determine whether or not the value is good. And if it's not, you can always renegotiate or cancel the deal and get another one.
Exactly. I mean, we've had several deals where we're like, we're not even sure if this one's going to assign. And then our buyers came in and we're like, oh my God, we assigned that for that? I didn't think it was going to assign. I thought we were going to have to renegotiate.
Yeah, we wouldn't have missed out if we didn't just do it.
If we would have overanalyzed and not signed the contract because it was too high, we would have never gotten that.
So imagine all the people who are afraid to take action, who are overanalyzing how much money they're losing right now by not taking action like you guys did.
Crazy to think about.
Crazy. So 3 things. 1, always be learning. Don't reinvent the wheel. Learn from the people who are successful and have done it before you. Just copy and emulate what they do because it works. So do that. Number 2, go take massive imperfect action. If you fail forward. It's totally cool. Just go out and make things happen. And 3, don't overanalyze. All right. We all worry too much. This world has us worrying too much. Don't worry. Just go make it happen. It's all going to work out in the end because it always does work out in the end.
Yeah, and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
100%. Yes, I love that.
Exactly.
Whereas you guys are a couple working together, I want to ask 2 things that you guys could talk about, just 2, because we've already asked 3, of what it's like to work as a couple in this business. Because we work as a couple, you guys work as a couple. A lot of people want to work as a couple, but they don't. So can you give any advice for married people or just couples in general working in real estate?
Yeah, first little piece of advice would be identify each other's strengths and weaknesses and give roles and expectations pertaining to those strengths and weaknesses. So I'm really good on the phone with people and I'm good talking. So in this, I handle 90% of the phone calls, and when I go to appointments, I do 90% of the talking. But I cannot stand clerical data entry, anything like that.
He can't be organized to save his life.
So that's where she comes in.
Yep.
And we've identified those strengths and weaknesses, and it's kind of helped us along the way. If we didn't identify those up front, we'd just be a cluster and
Yeah, everybody,
kind of,
if you're trying to do kind of tap up each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
we
just
just-
kind of clustered.
Yeah.
So we kind of assign roles.
yeah, right off the bat,
Know
we
your role,
assign
stick
roles.
to
Still
it.
work together.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the same time.
Yeah.
That's great. All right.
Number 2,
Yeah.
Yes, please.
don't fight.
Don't fight.
Okay. Well, that's easier said than done.
I like this advice.
It's so hard. It really is hard to work with your significant other, but you can't fight. I mean,
At the end of the day, it's work, and
You
your
gotta-
relationship matters more than work will ever matter. And if there's something that's stressing you both out, you sit down and talk about it, but don't get angry, don't fight over it, and
not worth
work through it, because it's ultimately at the end of the day what you want to do, and you want to work with that person, you want to have a great relationship, and
You want
you're
both.
not going to get there fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fighting usually is never really the way to a successful relationship, regardless if you work together or not. So I think that's great advice. And, it's easy to have things at home, kind of bleed into your work day, right? And then, but you still have to kind of work together. So, people are really worried about that, spending that time together, taking an argument, maybe if something happened the night before, and then dealing with it during work during the day. You guys really don't get that space of one person going to this job, one person going to another job. So that definitely adds a lot of, potential issues and conflict in the relationship. But what Michelle and I have found out is that, actually working through these things over time and forcing us to actually handle whatever is the problem is rather than trying to avoid it. It's actually made us a stronger
I was
couple.
gonna say it makes you stronger, and
Yeah.
it makes you end up with a healthier relationship.
100%.
I feel like.
Yes.
Yeah.
We feel blessed to be working together all day, every day. And we continue to grow not only as entrepreneurs in this business, but really as a married, loving couple.
Yeah.
They really go together hand in hand with us. And we're both very lucky in that aspect. And, I think those are two good pieces of advice you guys have, the roles, which is great because, you always have one who's a visionary, but it's nice to have somebody who can be
An
the implementer.
implementer.
Yeah.
And
put
a
all this up to
follow-upper.
place.
An organizer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which isn't me,
definitely.
so I understand 100% where you're coming from.
It's awesome when you have both. And
Technology and organization.
All right, add it,
Because
honey.
they did too. I have one more
Okay.
that I want you guys to do because you're gonna have a lot of this to do in the future, and that is we always, at the end of the week, we always celebrate our wins, no matter how small they were. We celebrate every win together. We
Yep.
always go out or we have a drink or whatever, and we just celebrate together because we worked hard for it. So.
Sure do. It's important that anybody watching this, you understand that you learn from your losses, which is kind of what they talked about earlier about the mistakes, right? You learn from your losses, but you have to celebrate your wins.
Yep.
If you're hustling and grinding and spending all this time, energy, and effort to make things happen, but you're not, taking time to enjoy the moments where you actually succeed, then what's it really worth, right? We want to enjoy those moments of success. You've earned it, and don't let them go by without enjoying them. And I think that's a great bit of advice. So I'm glad you shared that.
That's awesome
Yeah, I love
advice.
that.
That's really great.
I love it.
That's it, guys.
Yeah, thank you,
Rockstar
guys.
Acquisition
Awesome.
Team, Emma and Dylan, Western New York Home Buyers. You guys can find them on Facebook, find them on Instagram. If you guys have any questions for them, please reach out to them. They know a lot of stuff in a short amount of time.
And they're going to be seeing a lot of them. They're exploding. So
They are
wait till you see,
exploding.
guys. It's awesome.
We're sending them out to you when they come back.
Yeah.
They're going to be at a whole
That's
nother
right.
level when they come back from me training with Cody
Yes.
offline. So we're thrilled with that. You guys, thank you so much for spending time today. And we know you guys are true go-givers, and we know a lot of people are going to be reaching out to you. You guys will be providing a lot of great value for them. So thank you in advance.
Thank you guys for having us.
Our pleasure. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.